The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM and Hits 103.9 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We're also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via our various affiliates, live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, the government insists it acted by the law in appointing the new registrar of the Births and Deaths Registry, emphasizing that while it is willing to engage in dialogue, due process must be followed.
So it is the view of government that whilst we respect our partners in organized labor and seek to dialogue on all relevant matters, in this particular instance, the president has acted in accordance with Ghanaian law.
But Clarkson says they will embark on strike over the appointment beginning tomorrow. So coming up, as the Attorney General moves to recommend prosecution for individuals named in the oral report, the minority leader has issued a strong warning. He'll take legal action if his name or property is included in the findings.
If I see anything inconsistent with the law, I'll sue them. I'll sue their individual, personalities. I'll sue each one of them. I will sue them.
Also, in a letter to the president, he also demands a halt in the dismissals of persons employed by the former NPP administration after the December 7 election.
Stating the fact and calling on him to intervene and stop the action of the chief of staff, and that these are Ghanaians who have been employed, who have been thrown out of employment onto the streets.
Missing in action, questions arise over the whereabouts of the official vehicle assigned to the former Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Commission.
The Petroleum Commission gave me 2 vehicles. All those 2 vehicles have been parked at the Petroleum Commission from the 18th.
That is my brother.
You are not my brother. I cannot be your brother.
And also, Accra and Kumasi residents outraged by recent power outages as they wonder whether Thompson is back.
Once it's cool storage, if the power goes off, I'll be in trouble. So what I do is I have a standby generator, which of course when the light goes off, then I put on the generator. The expense is running high.
In sports,
GFA President Keto Kreku is said to meet Asante Kotoko's leadership as the club seek justice for late supporter Nana Pole.
These and more coming up right here on the Midday News. I am Maame Thompson. Please stay. Government insists it acted by law in appointing the new registrar of the Births and Deaths Registry, emphasizing that while it is willing to engage in dialogue, due process must be followed. Speaking at a press conference at the presidency, presidential spokesperson Felix Kwakye appealed to the Civil and Local Government Staff Association to reconsider its decision to embark on a strike this week.
And in the specific instance of the Births and Deaths Registry, the law governing the operations of that the law governing the operations of that entity spells out clearly who should make the appointment. It says the president, and the president has acted in accordance with the 1992 constitution. Now, section 2.3 says the president shall, in appointing a person as the registrar, have regard to the relevant academic qualification, experience, and knowledge of that person in civil registration. The registrar shall hold office on the terms and conditions specified in the letter of appointment. So, the criteria for that appointment is clearly spelled out in section 2 of this act. CLOSAD has not questioned the competence of the current occupant of the position of registrar. They only say that he is politically exposed. But I have just read the law to you, and you as journalists, I'm sure, have capacity to dig up this law and read it for yourself. There is no way that it is said that the position ought to be occupied by a civil servant. And Mr. Adumbotre is a highly experienced official who in the past has served as district chief executive under the Mills administration. And he has many years of public service experience. And he has requisite academic qualifications to hold that particular position. So it is the view of government that whilst we respect our partners in organized labor and seek to dialogue on all relevant matters, in this particular instance, the president has acted in accordance with Ghanaian law. And for that reason, there cannot be a reason why Mr. Adomotwe should be removed only because he is not a civil servant. There is no provision that says that the position is reserved for civil servants. If it is the view of CLOSAC,
Felix Kwachio-Fosu, presidential spokesperson, back CLOSAC, says it will embark on a strike beginning tomorrow. And Elton Brober joins me in studio with details of that statement. Elton, what does CLOSAC say?
So this is a circular to all members of the organization. It's dated 18 February 2025. The head of civil service to the head of local government service staff, all regional secretariats of CLOSAC. Declaration of national strike. We refer to our letter. The number is quoted, dated 13 February 2025. On the above subject, CLOSAC would wish to inform our members to hold themselves in readiness to embark on the nationwide industrial action scheduled for Thursday, that's tomorrow, February 20, 2025. From all indications, the officer, Mr. Samuel Adumbotwe, is still at post as he is represented the birth and death registry at the budget hearing held at the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs on Monday, 17 February 2025. And they end by saying that the strike is on beginning tomorrow. And this is signed by Isaac Bampo-Addo, Executive Secretary of CLOSAC.
Thank you, Elton. We'll head to the presidency now and speak to Presidential Affairs Correspondent Maxwell Agbagba. And we understand that the presidency has also been speaking about the Ghana Journalists Association on the attacks on journalists and that it's misleading and unfair. First, let's listen to GJA President Albert Jumfo.
It is also disheartening to note that just about 50 days into the second John Mahama administration, we have witnessed even 7 cases of assault against journalists. And I stress on that it is also disheartening to know that just about 50 days into the second John Mahama administration, we have witnessed 7 cases of assault against journalists. This is unprecedented. Colleagues, in the Kumasi incident, the 4 journalists were assaulted on February 11, 2025, while covering the election of the Ashanti region representative on the Council of State. The election took place at the Regional Coordinating Council.
Well, Maxwell Agbagba joins us now. Maxwell, what's been government's reaction to this?
So, Maame, the presidential spokesperson, Felix Kwachio-Fosu, has described the claim that journalists have been attacked under the new government as a regrettable narrative, expressing surprise at how it was framed. Now, he stated that the individuals involved were non-state actors and that the journalists were not targeted due to any unfavorable reports about the government. He also emphasized that President Mahama, a member of the Ghana Journalists Association, in good standing, would be the last person to preside over an administration where journalists are attacked.
That said, I must also express dismay about the way that narrative was woven. It created a certain misleading impression about government and about President Mahama, which needs to be straightened. All of you are aware that President Mahama is an easygoing, down-to-earth, affable individual who relates very well with all manner of people. He is a member of the Ghana Journalists Association in good standing. So essentially, he is one of you. He is a member of the Inky fraternity. And therefore, he will be the last person to supervise a dispensation where journalists are attacked. But the way that the press conference was addressed and the way that the matters were couched created the impression that some journalists had perhaps said or written something that government was unhappy about, and therefore government was carrying out reprisals against them. But that is completely incorrect.
Well, Maxwell, he's also been debunking the NPP's claim that it left a substantial amount of money in the sinking fund.
Yes, ma'am. So on the sinking fund, the buffer created to facilitate the subsequent payments of bondholders. The presidential spokesperson stated that the NPP left no substantial amount in the fund. According to him, records indicate that the last transaction in the accounts occurred sometime in October 2024, involving an amount of $64,000. He says we are talking about payments of about 6 billion cedis, which makes it practically impossible.
Now, subsequent to the announcement of these payments and the announcement that the sinking fund has been reactivated, We have had some rebuttals from the MPP, whose officials have claimed that we have been able to do that as a government only because they left some buffers, and that it is not because of any specific intervention from President Mahama. I wish to place on record that this narrative is untrue. For officials of the former government to be able to say that these payments and honoring of these obligations have been the outcome of work that they did, they need to point specifically where those buffers were located. Because in order to be able to pay the money, you need to find it and lodge it somewhere. That is what you call a buffer.
Felix Kwachufosu's presidential spokesperson, while in the coming days, Attorney General and Minister for Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine is expected to recommend the prosecution of individuals named in the Operation Recover All Loot report. The team, which submitted its findings to President Mahama earlier this month, estimate that Ghana could reclaim over $21 billion in illegally acquired assets. However, in a yet-to-be-aired interview on the Pulse on Joy News, Minority Leader Alexander Penyomakin, whose properties were investigated, has issued a strong warning. He'll take legal action if his name appears in the final report for any alleged wrongdoing.
No, I had my drones being flown, on my property.
The oral team denies that.
Don't mind them. They are very insincere people. Very insincere. They did it. Ablanka came to read a search. How can you go and do a search, conduct a search on somebody's property?
Why would they target you?
They are not serious. You see, sometimes politicians think that by attacking an opponent, it breaks the opponent down and they would be popular. NDC should know that they've won. They've won with a 4-year mandate. They should be busy with implementation of their manifesto promise, rather than coming after Afenyo Markin.
They say that they are going after legally acquired state property.
Well, but how can you come to my property that I have put there since 2006?
Because they have questions for you.
Well, I'm saying that they thought it was a state land. And because I share wall, or there's a common boundary between my property and the police academy. So maybe they thought that it's a police academy property that I had illegally acquired. And unfortunately for them, that was not it. In any case, must you fly a drone on my property?
There was no official communication to you?
No, they never wrote.
This was done discreetly?
They did what they did.
Will you be surprised if your name or your property is captured in the report that they presented to the president as one of those that requires, further probe?
I will sue them.
For trespassing or for what?
If I see anything inconsistent with the law, I'll sue them. I'll sue their individual, personalities. I'll sue each one of them. I will sue them for the law to remedy the situation.
Well, the minority leader has also urged President Mahama to issue an immediate directive to withdraw the Chief of Staff's instruction that have led to mass dismissals. And this follows government revocation of all appointments made after December 7th.
In his campaign, he assured the youth that he won't come and terminate anybody's appointment. Some of these appointments, the processes started way back, and eventually the appointment letters were issued, some September, October, some November, some December. I have seen letters that are terminating appointment that were made as far back as June last year. I've written to Mr. President today on this matter.
You've written to the president?
Yes, I have.
Demanded what exactly?
Oh, I've written to Mr. President, stating the fact and calling on him to intervene and stop the action of the Chief of Staff, and that these are Ghanaians who have been employed, who are being thrown out of employment onto the streets. We don't need it as a country, It is not good for the image of the country, and it is creating some deep pain amongst people.
But for those that, for example, teachers, nurses, and other, individuals on the public payroll, the claim here is that these appointments were done without recourse to any financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance then.
That is not true.
It's like your party lost power and decided to push 8 members into various spaces within the public space.
For all of these, there were clearance.
Well, the full interview will be aired on the Pulse on Joy News at 3 p.m. this afternoon, don't miss it. But there is a tussle over the whereabouts of 2 government vehicles assigned to the former Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable. The Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mr. Fagbande, is accusing him of holding on to the vehicles, but Mr. Fable is fighting back.
The Petroleum Commission gave me 2 vehicles. All those 2 vehicles have been parked at the Petroleum Commission from the 18th, Saturday 18th of January. So what is he talking about? Please, Mustafa Bande, let me caution you. If you are working with President Mahama, do your work. If you are working with the government, do your work. But don't go about spewing lies and untruth. Please, respect yourself.
Mustafa.
Yeah.
What do you say to the
No problem, because it's a board meeting as well.
Mustafa.
That is my brother. You are not my brother. I cannot be your brother. We don't come from the same region. You are not my brother. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake.
Well, you heard there the former CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable, and the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustafa Bande, on Asempa FM. Moving on, Eko-Viridia High Court has convicted the Member of Parliament for Akwatia, Ernest Yakumi, for contempt of court. Following in his absence in court, the court has therefore issued a bench warrant for his arrest and subsequent sentencing. The conviction comes after he disobeyed an interim injunction against him on January 7, prohibiting him from being sworn in and admitted as the Member of Parliament elect for Akwatia constituency. However, Mr. Kumi presented himself in Parliament to be sworn in on January 6. A member of the Eastern Region legal team of the NDC, Bernard Bediako-Bedu, who represented Henry Boachi Yadom, the former MP who is challenging the legitimacy of Ernest Yakumi as MP for the area, expressed satisfaction with the court ruling. And joining us now is Kofi Siang, our Eastern Regional correspondent. Kofi, you've been following this. What more can you report from the court?
Okay, so after the court ruling, the judge's ruling, there appears to be some kind of frustration on the faces of the NPP supporters who were present at the court premises. The NDC on the other side were happy with the court ruling. When we spoke to the lawyer for the NDC side, Bernard Bediako-Bedu, he criticized the NPP lawyers for failing to follow due process.
Been in any of the provisions of the Constitution, that would remain at the behest of the law enforcement agencies. I wouldn't want to. We know how to get him, so we will get him without contravening any laws of the Republic. We are law abiding, because you would see that in all this, we have been able to calm our people down, that relax. The wheels of justice grind slowly. We started this case before December. He elected to do whatever, as if we are in a banana republic. But we insisted that we would obey the laws of the republic. So we will not, and I do not envisage that the law enforcement agencies will do anything contrary to the laws of the republic. Indeed, he will be arrested and brought to face justice. At the moment, he's a convict. Indeed, if you are even a convict, what business do you have staying in Parliament? But that's a business for another day.
Well, Kofi, did the NPP lawyers offer any explanation why the MP was absent in court?
Okay, so the judge, the trial judge, Justice Senyor Amedehe, says that he had a letter from Parliament, the minority caucus of Parliament, to claim that the MP was absent because, or he hasn't been present in court for all this while because of the fact that he's been attending to parliamentary duties. But the judge said that he will reject that claim because it is not coming from the Speaker or the Clerk of Parliament.
Thank you so much, Kofi Siams, our Eastern Regional Correspondent, bringing us to a break on the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll return with sports and then Accra and Kumasi residents outraged by recent power outages as they wonder whether Thompson is back.
Once a school store, if the power goes off, I'll be in trouble. So what I do is I have a standby generator, which of course when the light goes off, then I put on the generator. The expense is high.
Where did I? Now I don't know when I just saw.
Obiang, what's the chrome ha? Ain't you want to say petrol for your energizing drinks for motion? Hey boy.
Petrosol are celebrating their 10 years in grand style. They're giving back to their loyal customers. Hope you have registered at their online portal. Don't say I didn't tell you, oh.
Each month, customers will stand a chance of winning items like tricycles, motorcycles, television sets, refrigerators, phones, fuel vouchers, and many more. But the best part is that at the end of the promo, we will be giving out a grand prize of 2 Suzuki Espresso cars to lucky winners who stay with us all through the promo period. All you need to join is to visit any of our over 100 stations across the country to get registered, or go to www.petrosolcrm.com to register online.
Petrosol, energizing dreams.
Hey, dear Niham sir. And stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send this say when you hear my tina oche. Niham it's na oche. No be baby some want some demoni ni na say. Dear Niham say. Fair quiet yesim biara association Ontario. Use stay soft and Niham it's na oche. Nani boss to tap from cra. A fabric softener. And ye near say sir. Choose to stay soft. No who so say no. FDID a garden crack to yatu.
Welcome back to the midday news. We have sports with Mubarak.
Yes, Maame, in about 40 minutes, GFA President Keto Kreku will meet Asante Kotoko's leadership at the club's secretariat in Kumasi to be the first time Ket is engaging with Kotoko following the tragic death of Kotoko supporter Francis Nana Pole, who was stabbed to death during a Premier League match against Nswatriman. The Ghana Police Service has identified Brima as the person responsible for the crime. Meanwhile, Bechem United are promising 100,000 Ghana cedis reward for anyone with credible information that leads to the arrest of the killer. So, Maame, it's time for you to be an informant and get the cash so that we share.
Well, when I get it, I'll share it with you. Thank you so much, Mubarak. Now, Accra and Kumasi residents are fuming with frustration as unexpected power outages plunge homes and businesses into darkness, sparking fears of the return of Thompson. From sleepless nights in the heat to spoiled food and crippled productivity, the anger is high. Furious residents are demanding that ECG fix the problem. Here are residents from parts of Accra.
This generator, but generator right now is spoiled. We buy for the things like you buy like 100, 150 and things. The light you buy like 500, 600 today a month. So my fuel and the light they go out. Like it affects me. So how can I buy the fuel at the same time buy lights as well? She said that one too they cost me.
Of late the power situation is bad. It has been on and off. Just at the opposite side of where I'm staying. Yesterday, the light went off. In cold store work, once it's cold store work, if the power goes off, I'll be in trouble. So what I do is, I have a standby generator, which of course, when the light goes off, then I put on the generator.
Well, the situation is no different in Kumasi. Residents' activities have been hugely impacted. There's more on the following report by Irabna Akwe.
Parts of Kumasi have been plunged into darkness for the past few weeks, with some areas not having light at all for up to 24 hours. Right now, we are on the street to engage with people. Let's hear what they have to say.
They need to consider much because if they come, people may say we are experiencing Thompson, and I don't want to say it's back. So let's wait a bit and see. Maybe during the 6th month on his office, we may be able to pass positive judgment on whether Dumso is back or not.
Whenever I'm about to go home, I have to call and find out whether there is light, and there is usually no light. We are really suffering, especially in the Ashanti region. We plead for something to be done about it.
They should do what they want. People work with light, but there is no light. There is so much heat, especially when we go back to our homes in the evenings.
The ECG says they are putting measures on to solve the issue.
As we speak, we are also battling with the issues of underground cable fault being punctured by individuals. That is also resulting in outages to our cherished customers.
That report from Kumasi on power outages. Now, former executives of the National Service Scheme have described a media publication by the Fulda State as a misrepresentation of data, a smear on former officers, and an error-ridden report. The publication, among others, accused the scheme of inflating personnel figures, facilitating ghost names on the payroll, and failing to conduct proper verification of service personnel. However, a press release signed by former Director General Osei Sigbe Entry and former Executive Director Mustafa Yusuf, the ex-officials rejected the claims, insisting that the report misrepresents NSA's enrollment and payment processes. My colleague Hannah Odame joins me in the studio with more of what's contained in that statement. Hannah, what is the basis of the response by the ex-executives?
Yes, Maame, in addition to what you said, they argue that the Fourth Estate relied only on general enrollment figures from September and ignored the additional service personnel such as the nursing and teacher trainees who are later enrolled through special programs. They further clarify that while budgets that were submitted to Parliament reflect the total personnel posted, not all of them end up on the payroll as some fail verification or do not show up for the service.
Well, what about the allegation that the NSA system contained foreign nationals, overage people, and individuals with fake IDs?
On this, they say inconsistencies exist only at the entry stage and are filtered out during the verification process through payments made. The statement adds that during regional verification, all the personnel undergo biometric and facial recognition checks, and with that, inconsistencies result in immediate disqualification, which means that those individuals do not make it on the payroll at all.
Thank you so much, Hannah Odame. Well, we have more on this as speaking on PM Express last week, the acting director of the National Service Authority, Felix Jemfi, outlined the measures that have been put in place to ensure the scheme is run devoid of the alleged scandals.
I will not blink an eye to give somebody up at the National Service if I know you are involved in something like that. So for a start, you dare not put a ghost in this list that we have there. And then all the safeguards were there, just the people did not allow the safeguards to work. If they had allowed the safeguards to work, we wouldn't have been here. We are going to institute a measure that will curtail all this.
Well, in today's episode of Climate Focus, the Forestry Research Institute of Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, in partnership with the Forestry Commission, has organized a day's workshop for stakeholders in the Bunnies region on sustainable smallwood woodlot management for bioenergy and rural livelihood improvement. There's more on this report by Anna Sabit.
Wood fuel, primarily charcoal and firewood, has over the years been the main source of energy for cooking for 2/3 of households in sub-Saharan Africa and is a critical element in maintaining food security. With millions of households depending on wood fuel production to make a living, a heavy reliance on it makes environment and health concerns, and with many governments focusing on bans and restrictions of the commodity, there is a need for policy makers as well as researchers to undertake demand-driven research, build capacity, and promote the application of technologies for sustainable management of forest resources for the benefit of society. As a result, the Forestry Research Institute of Ghana under the CSIR is implementing a project to enhance sustainable woodlot management for bioenergy production in Ghana. Professor Emmanuel Punifrimpon is a professor of forest health and a deputy director at the institute.
Based on the views that we have tapped in here with the discussion that has gone on, it's clear that the project is going to go a long way to support sustainability of the charcoal business, sustainability of woodlot establishment, for us to achieve the objective for which the funds has been given to us.
Anessa B's report. And now M&J and the consistent J in the M&J. Where are your people?
I know Masol is somewhere, Shola is also somewhere else.
Well,
all important. But then on social media, Sophia Akufo is trending after her appointment yesterday. People have been giving her all the congratulatory messages. Let me read a couple of comments on social media. So Nana Easy says that this is the best news so far to our oldies. Mr. President, keep doing what you're doing for Ghanaians. And Twitter Ness says that after getting her bonds coupon paid, this is a double bonus. Yes. And Simple Ma says that if anyone doesn't understand, they can go and bend the sea. But then, yeah, a lot of comments on the back of this. And away from that, international entertainment, we have Rihanna's baby daddy, A$AP Rocky, trending on social media. That was when he was found not guilty of an assault that happened in 2021. The viral video was when he was, it was pronounced that he was not guilty. He jumped to hug Rihanna. You know, it was circulating all over social media. But people have been reacting to that. Someone says that on the bright side, we are probably going to get see an album soon. She hasn't released a song in a long time. Maybe she was focused on A$AP. So hopefully we get to see. Someone says that they better not celebrate the pregnancy.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for the latest on the trends. And that's how we end the midday news here on Joy 99.7, supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. I am Maame Thompson. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Oto.